What's up, Multiverse? Dr. Dave here. Welcome to the Geek Lounge. On today's video, we're going to be unboxing some of the newly released Book of Boba Fett Funko Pops. Alright guys, welcome back to another Funko Pop unboxing here on the channel. I hope you all had an awesome weekend and Monday hasn't treated you too badly so far. As I said, we are going to be unboxing all the newly released Book of Boba Fett Funko Pops. And we are going to start with a slimy and conniving Major Domo. I'll give you guys a quick look at the back of the box though, but it does just contain all of the figures we are going to take closer looks at today. The latest wave of Book of Boba Fett figures. One thing I was a bit interested in is that we don't actually have a new Boba Fett figure, but then when I was thinking, we got like 2 or 3 during the Mandalorian run. There was then that one of him on the throne with Fennec Shand, which I think was also Mandalorian, but it was of course like the end credit scene. And then I think he has had like 1 or 2 anyway from the Book of Boba Fett wave 2. There was definitely that one where he's like in his black robes with the staff, you know, before he gets his armor and that. So it kind of makes sense why we don't have any more Boba Fett figures, because we've kind of had a lot of them. And there he is, guys, the Major Domo. Like I said, slimy, conniving. He was just like a complete a-hole, very unlikable character, all in it for self-interest, very cowardly as well. But yeah, he made for, like, I guess, an interesting character, but I honestly didn't really care too much for him. He is, of course, a Twi'lek with the professor did tell me what they're called on they're like tentacle-like things on the heads, but I can't really remember what they are now. I'm sure someone, if they're watching and they know, can let us know in the comment section below. But yeah, some pretty nice detail on them going out the back of his head, of course, as we would expect with Twi'leks, all in these green robes. I mean, there's not too much going on with the character. Like I said, I wasn't really a big fan. I can't imagine many people were, but he still played, I guess, somewhat of a significant part to warrant getting a Funko Pop in the Book of Boba Fett wave. Next up, we have Chrysanthemum, and this is actually the second Chrysanthemum figure we've had released so far, with the first one being a San Diego Comic-Con exclusive from last year, which was flocked. He just had like the brass knucks there on his fist. Well, I assume they're brass knucks, spikes. I can't entirely remember. It's been quite a while since the Book of Boba Fett actually released. Like, really weird that we finally, like it was essentially a year later, right? It was December 2021, right, when the show started releasing. It may have gone over into January of last year, but yeah, we then finally get a new wave of pops. I really like the flocked one. I think it's really cool, but equally this one also very cool. So like I said, he doesn't have like a rifle or anything. It is just his fists out, but the figure is flocked. This one isn't flocked, but it does still look really, really cool, I have to say. Some nice detail on it, the gold armor. He's got the big ass rifle there as well. Yeah, very, very cool. He's quite a popular character anyway, introduced in the Dr. Aphra comic books, and then has now made his way onto live action. We do still wonder if Dr. Aphra herself will start to make appearances in live action. I guess only time will tell. And next up, we have another very popular character in Cad Bane. And I remember when this episode aired, what was it, like the Wanderer from the Desert, something along those lines, and like he walks out and you kind of see this silhouette of a hat, and I was like, no. The professor actually called it straight away, saying it's Cad Bane. I was like, nah, no way. And then as he gets closer and closer, you're like, oh my god, it's Cad Bane. If you didn't know, I'm like a huge Western fan. I think Dave Filoni is anyway. Like a lot of his, like the Mandalorian and Book of Boba Fett, pardon me, has this big kind of like Western feel to it. But yeah, as a big fan of Westerns, I love Cad Bane, like the style of his character. He's just kind of like this alien sort of Clint Eastwood, you know, style of character. I guess more of a villain though, but well, bounty hunter still. Or is a bounty hunter a villain when you think about it? At least in terms of the West. Were they more heroes? Because they're hunting villains technically, right? But anyway, like it was such a cool moment when he popped up. I won't say too much about the ending if anyone hasn't seen it, but I hope we haven't seen the last of the character. Let me just put it that way and stop kind of talking about that. But yeah, a very cool pop. I think it's maybe is it the 3rd or 4th release now for Cad Bane? You had the like OG one from the Clone Wars, which is now pretty expensive. There was then that Bad Batch one, and I think now only this one, right? There may have been one more, I can't entirely remember off the top of my head. But yeah, very, very cool. His look was a bit, like, I felt it did look a little bit weird compared to the like the animation, but there's always only so much you're going to be able to do in like taking from animation to live action, right, and still making it look pretty good. But yeah, I think the Funko Pop here looks really, really cool. I do enjoy it a lot, and like I said, I hope it's not the last we've seen of Cad Bane in live action. Next up, we'll go with the character who essentially stole the show from Boba Fett. I am, of course, talking about the Mandalorian himself, Din Djarin. I've seen all those memes. They do kind of make me laugh, where it's like the Mandalorian talking to Boba Fett saying, "This is my show now," because the Book of Boba Fett, it wasn't like massively popular. For me personally, I did enjoy it, but I get where a lot of people were saying it was very, very slow, you know, especially those first 4 episodes. I mean, it's only 7 episodes long, and it honestly felt like it was a lot longer than that. But he did finally appear in the 5th episode, which I think was called The Return of the Mandalorian, in fact, and it was like a whole just Mandalorian episode. It was almost like it could be the premiere of season 3 of The Mandalorian, right? But they had it during the Book of Boba Fett, and yeah, very cool episode. Everyone was so happy. It was like, I saw like the IMDb rating shot up. I even think this episode holds like a 9.5 score or something. Yeah, just a popular character. He's grown now, and we kind of know what he's all about. But yeah, another Mandalorian figure though. I mean, I don't even want to know how many there are now. Probably like 15, if not 20 maybe. This one, yeah, I honestly don't quite remember what's going on. It's some kind of worm, grub. Even kind of looks a bit like a croissant when you kind of take a closer look at it. Was he feeding Grogu? Was he feeding a creature? I honestly can't remember in terms of the moment. I think they maybe could have done something a bit better. Obviously, he had that Darksaber fight with Paz Vizsla, but at the same time, I guess we already have that kind of chrome glow in the Darksaber one that was under the Mandalorian wave. So, yeah, I can't really think off the top of my head. Maybe they could have done something else for sure. But yeah, I still think it's a pretty cool figure. It captures the Mandalorian really well. And wherever he goes, I go. That sentiment rings true for both characters. Next up, we have Grogu. And similar to the Mandalorian, Grogu also has something like 15 or 20 Funko Pops, but he is an incredibly popular character. The weird thing with this one, though, is like it almost seems kind of see-through-ish in the light. I don't know if that necessarily makes sense. Like it's a lighter tone, I feel, than the rest of the Grogus that I've seen. I was starting to think, does it actually like glow in the dark? But it doesn't. I've like quickly tested it. But yeah, what can you really say with the Grogu figures? It's pretty much always going to be that same head mold. It's just really him, same like outfit as well. It's just really him with a different kind of accessory, different expression, maybe feeding or whatever. You know, we've had those various different ones. Here he has, I think it is the control knob, pardon me. And then actually, if you guys can see, I don't know if you will be able to make that out on 360. I'll kind of give you like a quick or like a zoom in of it there, where it's he's actually got the chainmail that was made for him out of the Beskar steel that he essentially chooses over training with Luke in the end, right? Good choice as well, I have to say, Grogu. But yeah, it's a nice little touch, but it's not like a completely different, like crazy figure. But again, what do you expect with these Grogu figures? There's not a lot you can do with them, but I'll still buy all of them anyway because I absolutely love the character. And speaking of Luke, we did also get another Luke Skywalker figure here with Grogu. And if for some reason you haven't seen the finale of The Mandalorian Season 2 yet, I am going to spoil it, although you know what? I feel I did just spoil the Book of Boba Fett as well when we looked at the last Grogu figure. Apologies, but come on. The shows have now been out for at least over a year. I think we're way out of spoiler territory. But yeah, Grogu goes off with Luke at the end of Mandalorian Season 2. And then in that Mandalorian, or like there's actually 2 Mandalorian-centric episodes, aren't there? In the Book of Boba Fett, episodes 5 and 6, we see Grogu is with Luke training. And yeah, the Mandalorian then brings him that armor as a gift. And Luke essentially gives him a choice of either taking the armor, but then he won't be able to train because, what is it? You can't have attachments, right? I think that's the whole like bizarre thing about the Jedi. Don't get me started on that. I absolutely hate it. And yeah, sometimes I think the Jedi almost kind of got what they deserve, to be perfectly honest. Maybe that's a bit harsh, but yeah, some of their like religious fanaticist ways just, they don't sit right with me. Let's be honest. That's why I feel Qui-Gon is the best Jedi, because I don't quite feel he was that like fanatic like the rest of them were. But yeah, anyway, the figure is very, very cool. I love the fact that we've still got that classic like glove over the cybernetic hand, and then the obviously the naked hand, I guess. Yeah, I guess we can say naked hand, right? Gloveless hand. And then we have Grogu peering out of the back there, out of that basket, kind of reminiscent a little bit of the Empire Strikes Back training figure, where he has Yoda on his back in the basket as well. Yeah, still really cool. And I love these like collections as well, where you get the mini Grogu with, like, they've done quite a few of them now. There was a Luke one where he's holding him. There's like a Mandalorian where he's holding, or there's a couple of Mandalorians holding him. The IG droid holding him. Dark Trooper holding him. What was it, Dark Trooper? I think it was Dark Trooper, right? Various ones holding him, and this is another one to add to that collection. And well, that is it for the 6 common figures released in the latest wave, but we do have one exclusive, which is the Grogu with Rancor. Look at that, guys. I'll show you the back of the box, but again, it is just those common wave of figures. Maybe you can see a slightly bigger image of it, but yeah, we have just actually looked at all of them close up anyway. And this thing is absolutely colossal. When it first arrived, I was like, man, I did not realize this was so big. So cool though as well. Even the Rancor himself has a bobblehead, as well as Grogu as well. I think that's really cool. Yeah, the scene towards the end where Grogu essentially calms down the Rancor, who's like rampaging through the city, right? It's just so cool. The detail on it, very cool. Like the nose rings going up to there for the harness, and then obviously the seat there at the back. There was one thing when, like, before any of these were announced, I was like, man, are we actually going to get any more Book of Boba Fett figures? Because I was like, I still feel there's a lot that they could potentially do. And I was thinking one of them I think would be really cool would be Boba Fett on the rampaging Rancor, like riding it. I thought that would have been like such an awesome pop they could have made. And then I saw that they were doing this, and I was like, yeah, I don't know about it. But now that I'm seeing it, you know, with my own eyes, it's so cool. They've just got the detail down like so well. The one thing that I do feel is a little bit weird though, if I'm being completely honest. I don't know what you guys think. Obviously we're going around here now. The Star Wars logo is not here at the back, but to me this is where like all the detail is, right? You kind of see Grogu, you see the face of the Rancor to an extent, but then if we spin around the other side, that's actually where the Star Wars logo is, and it's like, you don't really see much. You don't see Grogu's face. You partially see the Rancor's face as well. It's like a really weird design choice there. I don't know why they've put that logo on that side. It really should be on the other side. Very bizarre. I mean, when obviously I don't really have much space to display it, but when I do display it, I will certainly be doing it the other way, because it's like, it's so much better on the other side, to be perfectly honest. But yeah, apart from that, it's still really cool. Like I said, really big. I love the sizes as well. The like comparisons are pretty cool. Yeah, maybe you could argue the Rancor is a little bit bigger, but I still like what they've done with it. Yeah, what else can I say? Very cool. I think it was Entertainment Earth exclusive in the US, if I'm not mistaken. Over here, I got it from Funko Europe, but I don't know if it is going to be exclusive to anywhere else in the UK. But yeah, I'd recommend getting it if I were you guys. It just looked like, especially if you're a fan of Star Wars, a fan of Book of Boba Fett, it just looks so cool in person. And well guys, that is the latest wave of Book of Boba Fett figures. Will they make more? I'm not entirely sure. I think there's room for a few more maybe, but like I said, the show wasn't like massively popular, certainly not as popular as The Mandalorian, so I don't think it's going to be given the Mandalorian treatment, but I think there is still room for other figures. But yeah guys, that is going to do it for today's video. So first and foremost, thank you so much for taking a little bit of time out of your day to spend with me here on the Geek Lounge. It is very much appreciated, and I hope you guys did enjoy the video. If so, be sure to give it a thumbs up. Drop some comments below. What did you guys think of the Book of Boba Fett, and have you picked up the latest wave of figures? And as always, we got plenty more content on the way for you guys. Coming this Wednesday, we're actually going to be checking out the Echo Hot Toys from the Bad Batch. We're making an effort to do more Star Wars content this year, because in terms of like a brand and the combined collections of myself and the Professor, Star Wars is without question the biggest. So we want to do tons more Star Wars content. We've got Star Wars celebrations coming up here in London, where we do have tickets for all 4 days, so we will have tons of Star Wars content coming this year. In tomorrow's video, we're actually going to be continuing our series of Naruto Kaiju unboxings, more Funko Pops coming this week as well, tons and tons for you guys, so make sure you stay tuned for it all. What is the easiest way to stay tuned, you ask? It's very simple. Subscribe, hit click, smash that subscribe button, and enable those notifications so you don't miss out on any of that future content. Guys, thanks again for watching today's video, and we will see you on the next one. Peace out, nerds.